Look over here. Look over here. Here is the narrative. We have explosions and dangerous rescues and a car chase and a shootout, and the guy gets the girl at the end of the news cycle. Keep watching, not thinking. Stay seated.
Right, let me give you a quick grand tour. There's a view out the window. There's the mountains. It was nice when they were covered with snow. Smog. Very modern apartment. This is filthy office. Can't even keep clean. First rule of me, if I come and someone can't even keep their office tidy, I know there's something wrong. And I don't like these windows. People can be prone to be thrown out of them. Yeah, I have a rule. If there's an open window or a balcony, I can be no more than 30 feet off the ground. That's my rule. Public, sorry, but that's literally what they're like. And I know people that have lived here and they said, Brendan, they don't give a The wealthier section just wants to download porn. They don't give a about the revolution. They don't give a about Israel. They don't give a about the Palestinians. They don't give a about anyone but themselves. It's the Shahid, the martyrs, South Tehran, the Barefoot Brigade, Dr. Ahmadinejad's crew. They're the ones with the balls. They're the ones that want to do something. And what for these pieces of crap? I'm tired of being moderate about it, man. Israel needs to be finished off, and we've got too many of these Swiss bank account politicians. You know, do I have to say it?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to explain how things work in the real world by explaining the Iran war, or the Iran missile exchange with the 6'4" orange clown with the big mouth who is doing his job perfectly. Remember, let's start by understanding that this is not a war or a missile exchange between the United States and Iran. This is a missile exchange with a European Union City of London proxy called Iran. Now, I just spoke with Crypto Rich, very nice guy, had a great chat. He didn't know anything about Vladimir Putin's close friendship with Klaus Schwab. He knew nothing about the Netanyahu-Putin relationship and how Israel would get Russia to come in to look after it. Rich didn't know anything about that relationship between Kissinger, City of London, Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, good old B.B. Milikowski from the back alleys of Krakow, Poland. He didn't know about that stuff. But he does now, and we'll be talking again with Rich. I really like the Brit, same sense of humour. We had a thoroughly enjoyable chat, and he's a very interesting guy who works full-time also in a normal job. So I hope to collaborate with him a lot more in the future, and we can begin to slowly and painfully get this information. I was in Iran, you weren't. You have never been to Iran.
I'm in here. This is Brendan O'Connell, the Bell Tower Boy, in Tehran, the head of the funeral procession for former President Mr. Rafsanjani.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Bell Tower Boy from Perth, Western Australia, far from home in a secret location. But I'll give you a guess where it is. Hello, Iran.
G'day, mate.
I got there because I had an Australian passport, because Mark Glenn of the Ugly Truth podcast wrote letters backwards and forwards with the then president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Now, he is real. He is a real Iranian nationalist. And in previous videos, which are now in this collection of videos on YouTube, you can see how Iran really works. Once they got rid of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, they have a deep state globalist problem too. Please understand, they have a deep state globalist problem. Just because they have a beard and have a little turban and they go blah, 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 blah. Okay, we've seen how Saudi is the enemy. Saudi.
فرنسا؟
اسرائيل نبض
نه اسرائیل نیست ریاض سعودی
آمریکا
سعودی
الان سعودی هست
امریکا دست ترامپ ان شاء الله خراب میشه سعودی
All right, they want to liberate Mecca, not Tel Aviv, not Israel. They work closely with Israel and have done so from the very beginning of the revolution. Very beginning. The Shah worked with Israel, and then when he backed off and started exposing, he was gone. When King Faisal in 75 started the petrodollar war and said, why are you allowing all these Soviet-era communist Jews to walk into the Middle East? They're going to stab you in the back. He was gone. And we understand that role of how this movement came in. And the Straits of Hormuz, it is a leverage point for the City of London and the EU banking and financial class. That is being taken out as we speak. And it's quite a show. It's very simple how it works. When Ari Emanuel does a World Wrestling Federation UFCC fight or a Charlie Kirk memorial... with his stage actors, when they do this sort of stuff, there's always a theme, just like how to wag the dog.
We want you to produce. You want me to produce your war? Not a war, it's a pageant. We need a theme, a song, some visuals. We need, it's a pageant.
It's a pageant. Don't get me wrong, people are dying. The usual people, poor people, sincere people, working class people, of course, they always die. The elites have padded bank accounts. We don't know who's dead and who is alive. We really don't. But all I know is this. Think for yourself. If you believe Donald Trump is confused, Donald Trump is confused. He just gets his lines and he reads them. That's what he does. That is his talent. He is an actor. He is a World Wrestling Federation actor. He is a reality TV show actor. 20 years on Ari Emanuel, the Israeli intel assets payroll. Rahm Emanuel handles the other side of politics. I hope we can all work that out. This is a show. This is a pageant. People are dying. But when the big boys fight, it's always behind the scenes. And what they do is introduce a show and a pageant like look over here, don't question, stay afraid, be scared. Straight out of Adam Curtis. Destabilized perception.
The underlying aim, Surkov said, was not to win the war, but to use the conflict to create a constant state of destabilized perception in order to manage and control.
Yes, look over here. You are scared. Do not think clearly. Do not enjoy yourself. Do not relax. Feel guilty. Scream and yell online. Sell coffee mugs and t-shirts. Tell everyone how anxious you are. Tell everyone how horrible it is. And they're all mean and nasty. Yes, don't organize. Don't get into politics. Don't go and join the Republican Party and take flyers and talk face to face with people. Don't do any of that stuff.
Look over here. Look over here. Here is the narrative. We have explosions and dangerous rescues and a car chase and a shootout, and the guy gets the girl at the end of the news cycle. Keep watching, not thinking. Stay seated.
You are a passive observer. The children must be kept out of politics because you're not qualified.
What do I do?
Nothing, dear. You're not qualified.
Okay? You're not qualified. At best, that's their excuse. At worst is they just want to kill us all. But you stay out of it, you become a passive observer, and at best you join a team, you join Team Trump, you join Team Mentally Ill Democrat, whatever you're doing, and then you just argue backwards and forwards of Department of Defense or Department of War Substack or whatever social media in-Q-tel operation you're sitting on, as I am doing right now on the NASA, Google, Department of Defense, Pentagon, YouTube. It's not all bad. We got some supporters out there. They're out there. So the grown-ups are arguing, and the globalist EU, City of London element, Jewish power, the Hofjuden of Europe are having a very hard time accepting what's happening. They are really not liking it. They are not liking this at all. You saw again the timeline. Right, Mark Carney, Keir Starmer, January 2026, after Trump had humiliated them, and as soon as he got into power, 1 month in, he said this about the European Union.
The European Union's it was formed in order to screw the United States. I mean, look, let's be honest.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to keep repeating this stuff. I just have to, every show I've got to keep repeating it. And you saw good old J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel's boyfriend, at Munich conference just absolutely eviscerating, and to this day he's doing it, the European Union, saying you were in a civilizational war and you've got a problem. You've got a commie problem. A cracker's in Armani. The commie's in Armani. You got a commie problem. See, we're distracted by the goose stepping and the silly walks and the theater and the funny uniforms. And we're missing the fact that people that are running this show wear Armani. They are finely tailored suits. Gerhard Schroeder is the perfect example of the Hofjuden. He is the perfect example of the enemy. There he is with David Leveland, the Rothschild, part of the Rothschild board. And there he is on the board of Gazprom, the most powerful state-owned entity in Russia and best friends with Vladimir Putin. You will never see Vladimir Putin more happy than when he's sitting in Germany speaking fluent German with Gerhard Schroeder, the former Chancellor of Germany. They are Rothschild asset. He's a Rothschild asset. Vladimir Putin is a Rothschild asset. Can we make this clear enough for people? Hello, he's a globalist agenda, a golden boy, clearly a closet homosexual and possibly pedophile. I'm not just saying that to be mean. The man has got very, very bad background. He's there because Yevgeny Primakov put him in power. Everyone says, oh, he just appeared out of nowhere. No, he wasn't. He was a loyal functionary and his job was to protect Yeltsin. The deal was he would be put in power.
As Mr. Putin went to the front of the stage,
Группа сотрудников ФСБ, направленные вами в командировку для работы под прикрытием правительства, на первом этапе со своими задачами справляется.
And he would not go after the Yeltsins for the billions of dollars they stole and the looting of the country. And he would play savior, just as Trump was initially brought in as the savior back in 2016 under Kissinger and associates, with Jared Kushner in tow. And he's still there, and that's a problem. We'll talk about that in a minute. It was Madison Pompeo, Catholics in action. And if you don't have to like Madison Pompeo, all right? But they were the ones, as part of the Waspy Skull and Bones nationalist crew, Heritage Foundation, a bunch of serving and retired Pentagon officials who've been complaining for decades about what's been going on. And they got things back on track. They got rid of Kissinger, got rid of Kushner initially, they're back, and got Trump under control. Everything was meant to happen as it did, including putting Biden in. You got a taste of Biden, but Biden did a lot of good things. He carried on the CHIPS Act, which the Trump administration originally put in. The Trump administration also went after Maryland, Houston, and Lockheed and humiliated them.
We have some of our great business leaders and leaders, period, right behind me. I may ask Marilyn Lockheed, the leading woman's business executive in this country, according to many. And we buy billions and billions of dollars worth of that beautiful F-35. It's stealth. You cannot see it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Better be correct, right?
Absolutely.
Marilyn, please say a few words.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I would just say that this is a very important moment for our country, in that we are addressing what is a critical area for the aerospace and defense industry, and that is protecting our intellectual property.
Okay, if you don't know geopolitics, if you don't understand politics, what they say, what they don't say, what they do, what they don't do, that is a humiliation of Lockheed, the most powerful military industrial contractor in the world. And they dragged her out and they humiliated her and they fired her at the same time. They got rid of Kissinger and Madeleine Albright off the Pentagon board. I can't remember the exact name of the board. So I'm trying to give you the narrative. We don't have to like these people exactly. And it's very difficult to give you a coherent argument because you're going to praise people you don't want to praise. But this game is truly being run by the Heritage Foundation. Number one, the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, which isn't that bad. I mean, they go on about it, but you notice I don't talk about it anymore. Everyone's under control. If you wanted to go after Donald Trump, you would just go after Chabad Lubavitch. There you go. That's how you go after Donald Trump. Racist, homicidal lunatics, drug trafficking, sex slave trade, organ trading, drug money laundering, drug trafficking, but they never do. The dubious friends of Donald Trump, Lev Leviath, you'd go after that. There's strong intelligence connections back to the City of London. They never touch it. They never touch it. So everybody's under control. All right, there is no option for the election. Candace Owens can cry with her little white boy. You know, I mean, they must be opening up Scottish Rite Freemasonry because good old Candace, and Candace likes the white girls, by the way. So he's not bisexual. He's a full-blown homosexual, all right, but the gay guy who got married.
To those of you who think that you are going to replace Charlie Kirk, okay, kings are born. You don't just get to depose and tell us that we're going to follow this individual, okay? I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA.
And this is the globalist agenda. And there's Tucker Carlson. He's offended by Donald Trump, you know, never expressed a religious bone in his body. But now Tucker's here to tell us how religious he is and how deeply offended he is with another apartment complex in Qatar, globalist Qatar. Of course he is.
I get so confused sometimes. The big bags of money come and I get new lines. It's hard to keep up being a struggling alt media star with 27 staff. New narrative, Tucker.
Yes, Tucker, we get it. 27 staff, half of which came from Fox News. This is Murdoch's boy. This is the skunk works of Tucker Carlson. Don't be fooled.
Fox News and the Wall Street Journal fight me because Murdoch is a globalist. That's right, Rupert Murdoch is a globalist. You don't know that? And I am America first. It's very simple. I put America first.
From Mr. Murdoch's own newspaper, he called it the dumbest trade war on the editorial page on Saturday.
I'm going to have to talk to him.
Was this market reaction or concern about
I've been right
the
over
economy?
the Wall Street Journal many times. I will tell you that. I don't
wanna
agree
pick a
with
fight
him on
here,
some
sir,
things. No, it's not only is it not them. You're going to see. You're going to see. Every single one of those countries is dying to make a deal. You know why? Because they're ripping us off really badly. And the United States is tired of just being ripped off. And that's why we have $36 trillion in debt. We have it for a reason, because we make bad deals with everybody. And we don't allow that anymore. So the Wall Street Journal is wrong, because very simply, every single country that you're writing about right now is dying to make a deal. Because the deals they have right now are so good, and so good for them, and so profitable for them. You didn't know that Canada didn't allow our banks. You didn't know all of these different things.
If he wanted to go after Trump and he cared about the country, he'd expose Chabad Lubavitch. So for his time, we've done a little thing on Kabbalah. He would expose Chabad Lubavitch. He would expose Ari and Rahm Emanuel. So far, all he's got to say on Ari Emanuel, he's degenerating the culture. No, he's an Israeli intelligence outfit. Come on, Tucker, you're out to get the Jews, baby. You're out to get the Jews. The Jews killed Jesus and they killed Charlie Kirk too. Remember, Tucker? Remember your lines?
About what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem.
And this is the great game. It's all gonna settle down in the next few months. Don't worry. By December 7, 2026, we'll have our conversation and we'll ask, have you been eating your dogs and cats yet? Nope, you're fine. Everything is wonderful. The Pentagon has it under control. These people are not going after everyone. This is a stage managed event while they get ready to completely destruct the entire globalist City of London agenda. That's what's going on right now. Because let's face it, Iran, all right. If they were really, did you notice the real revolutionary, the real Iranian nationalist, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad? He never behaved like that. Never. He just meant business. He was smart. He's articulate. I was in Iran working with government analysts, their version of the CIA, Mr. Parsipur. They were great people. They were embarrassed by their government. There are lots of smart people in Iran, all right? And most of them in power are completely stupid. They're made that way. You only have to walk through Iran, death to America, death to Israel. I said, this looks ridiculous. You can't have that. I said, we know. We have to change it. Then they made it down with America. I mean, it was just ridiculous. You think they're so smart in Iran? Watch this. This is me in the apartment, and we're going to talk about how stupid they are. Their entire government agencies used cracked software. If you know anything about this cracked software, which they sell very proudly for $10 US in the Tehran stores, all right, from operating systems, are all cracked, they're all backdoored. You put it through your software, it's just alarm, malware. And they're so proud of it. CAD software, thousands of dollars, very expensive. It's all cracked. Their government departments are using cracked software. You think I'm joking? I said to the lawyer, do you do realize all this stuff is cracked? And they were like, yes, we use it all. We don't pay for any software, Mr. Parsipur said in Farsi, translated by the lawyer. And I just went, this stuff's all cracked. It's all backdoored. What are you doing? And he goes, yeah, you might be right. We better tell the boys from Intel. Quote.
I'm going to show you something really interesting before I leave this place. Iran cybersecurity is supposed to be very tough. And, I bet the NSA or Israeli intelligence would really want to put a lot of spyware throughout every computer in Iran as much as they could, opening up ports on computers and allowing them to infiltrate people's computers and make them little bots for the hackers, professional and otherwise. So, Iranian cybersecurity is going to be really switched on. Well, maybe not, because the Iranians are really proud of all the cracked software they allow out. Like, you can buy literally a $50,000 pack of software with all cracked software, latest stuff, latest Office, latest Adobe After Effects, that's $1,200 alone, latest incredible CAD programs, scientific programs, aircraft design programs. You can get them all in a pack. You go into a shop and you buy this pack. It looks very professional. Look at it. Adobe, Windows 10. You get this big book with what's on the disk. Very professional. You get all these disks filled with every bit of software you could imagine. And it's all full of spyware. It's completely chockers full of spyware. I mean, I can't even begin to explain to you. All the latest PDF utilities, Adobe Acrobat Pro. I mean, these are thousands of dollars, some of them. Everything. Audio and video players, antivirus security suite. All the latest $1,000 plus audio, visual editing software, sound, video, you name it. And they sell it in the stores for literally it's like $10 Australian, and it's full of spyware. Totally full of spyware. I couldn't believe it. Good on you, Iranian cybersecurity. You're really on the ball.
Remember, this is the same country that uses Israeli satellites for Iran Press TV. This is the same country that's been cooperating from Israel from the very beginning, City of London. You can just go to Iran and see the fraud straight away. Once they got rid of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, that was it. That was it. Thank God he's still alive. Hopefully he'll be brought back soon. Maybe it'll be power sharing. We don't know. But he's definitely on the cards to be brought back because he'll do a deal. They want this map. See this map? That's the map they want. It's going to settle the area. America's going to make Israel a protectorate and put in giant bases into the literal state of Israel, as we've discussed. Again, go and see the playlist and you will understand. From now on, I just send a playlist to people. They ask me questions. They run me in circles. I spend an hour with a detailed reply. Then they come back and say, "You're wrong," with an exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. So I just block these people now. I just say, here's the playlist. You want to know how the world works? Go and watch that. So again, this is a war between why? He's meeting Xi Jinping in China. Okay? He's meeting Xi Jinping in China in a month. This is what it's all about. Whether they take Karg Island or that island, I don't believe that's going to happen. It's just lots of melodrama, much of action, because Israel is also the target, the general population, to make sure they accept the inevitability of US bases. Okay, no, Trump is not angry at Volodymyr Zelensky because Volodymyr Zelensky moved into Saudi Arabia and embarrassed Trump. I'll give it a rest. Zelensky does exactly what he's told. Don't believe for a second that some clown Zelensky, the cross-dressing, coke-addicted rat, does anything without permission. He's got a big mouth and he's very mouthy. And I got to admit, he's got a few balls on him, particularly when the coke's high in his blood system. He does have a few balls on him. But I promise you, Zelensky's a little rat who does exactly what he is told. Exactly. End of story. And the aim will be to set up Putin, rearm Putin to threaten Europe. And they might move their base. They're not going to end NATO. They're just going to move their bases into Poland and the new Europe, Eastern Bloc, who understand the joys of National Socialism occupation and the joys of communist Soviet occupation. They understand in Poland and the Baltic states, I assure you. So we see the breaking of the French-German Rothschild banks. And God willing, the parasite will finally be eradicated from Europe and the UK. The City of London, the crackers in Armani. The distraction is the forelocks and the beards and the little couper. That's the distraction. The real players don't have a religious bone in their bodies. They're not into the occult. They're not into Masonic lodges. These people are above forms. They are chosen directly. True believers. The world must be managed. Populations must be managed. Control over populations, what they think, feel, eat. Control over numbers, and this is the final straw, which is a Hollywood movie called Logan's Run.
Imagine a world where you will hold your entire future in the palm of your hand, when a tiny glowing crystal will guide you through an existence in which each day is more wonderful than the last, where it will be possible for you to obtain the fulfillment of every fantasy, the satisfaction of every vanity, the absolute attainment of every wish.
Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer presents the Saul David production of Logan's Run. A fantastic journey through a world beyond imagination. Welcome to the 23rd century. The perfect world of total pleasure. Imagine a world in which you need never be alone. You touch a switch, turn a dial, and the perfect lover steps into your arms. Every pleasure is yours to experience.
Runner! There's just one catch.
And that is the final outcome of where all this heads if it's not stopped. Technology can be wonderful, can also disempower completely. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the absurdity of Iran. I was there. They're not interested in a revolution. 70% of them hate the clerics and the corruption of the Ayatollahs, and when I'm dead, they want Islam gone completely. They hate Arabs more than they hate Jews, I assure you. All right? They consider the Arabs barbarians and Islam a barbaric religion. That is literally the vast majority of the population of Iran. So you just go there for a week. You'll never see so much vodka flowing, drugs, ecstasy, meth, black tar heroin, hashish is everywhere. It's not even discouraged. They encourage the drugs, but you're not allowed to do it on the street. I was walking down the streets with a lawyer and there was pot everywhere, literally everywhere. I could smell it. And there's soldiers, their AKs playing Angry Birds on his phone and no one gave a crap. And I just went, oh, well, this wasn't what I was expecting. Okay. It's just one big party. All right. There are conservative areas in rural areas and different parts, South Tehran, but stop the fantasy that this is a popular government. There is no popular government. There is no mass support for the Ayatollahs. They're freaking hated with a passion, absolute passion. But they don't want to take down that centralized control right now. They need a gradual transition over 10 plus years. They're not going to fracture it like Iraq, like that big mistake before. The perfect person for this, who's also a reformer, deadly practical, sincere, an Iranian nationalist who will also hold the country together, is Mahmoud Ahmadinejad.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm excited to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, is the messenger of love, forgiveness, and peace.
He's not a hardliner, he's a realist. And he's sincere, and he is real, and he is smart. He doesn't have to wear his little turban and shake a fist. He just waggles his finger. I admire him completely, and I'm sure someone's going to tell me he killed my uncle, my auntie. Okay, I get it. But so they do in America too. America kills plenty of its own people too, assassinates and kills, and maims and destroys, and deals drugs and every other sin under the sun. They're all up to their necks in this stuff. God willing, we're going to find a time when nationalists, sovereign nationalists all over the world, all right, nationalist, sovereign France. I want to go to Europe. I want to go and meet arrogant French people who refuse to speak English. I want to go to their cafes and their districts, and I want to see the beautiful French countryside. I want to taste that beautiful French food, and I want them to complain about the Germans and complain about the English language being spoken. I want to go to Germany. I want trains running on time. I want clean streets, polite, efficient Germany. All right. I don't want to see a blob of mall rat, Walmart, globalist garbage. And then I want to see the convergence of the United States and Europe and the UK, its natural home. And I want to see them talking about freedom. I want to see them talking about bills of rights. I want to see them talking about constitutions. And I want to see them talking about a supernatural God, which ultimately we are going to have to submit to, whether in this life or the next. Because we move into this high technology, highly structured society, the ability of a few, there's not that many Jews in the world.
There aren't that many Jews in the world. There aren't that many Jews in the world.
The ability of a few to kill and control the many is where we're at. That's the danger. The automation of systems, whether it's the legal system, the policing systems, the military, we've got to stop the automation of systems, particularly automated killing machines, and seeing them gradually transfer from the battlefield, just like in RoboCop, to the civilian streets. That is the worry. Oh, it's so corrupt. The police are corrupt. The courts are corrupt. We need automated systems. No, they create the corruption. They create the illegal drug trade and the police state and the violence. When alcohol's the worst drug, not just my opinion, by statistics, as a former registered nurse working in emergency departments, I assure you, alcohol and tobacco kill 1,000 times more than cocaine is virtually harmless. It's virtually harmless. Take some cocaine, dance around a bit, have a few drinks, and then go to sleep 2 hours later. Cocaine is the most harmless drug of all. Alcohol is an absolute killer, absolute toxic poison, but it's legal. It's legal. But what they're going to do is when they're ready, when they've created so much corruption and so much drama and so much anxiety, the solution comes. Automation of systems. Now everything runs nice. You think, wow, what happened? Overnight, everything's wonderful. We just had to put all those cameras up and thumb scan and iris scan everywhere because they removed the chaos. They run the chaos. They introduce the chaos to give the final solution, a highly autonomous panopticon of control. Voila. What do we do about it? Whitney Webb says, go to Odyssey, refuse consent. When we have pushed again and again and again and contact Rich and tell him to get on Mary Silver.
Okay, I just handed out 50 flyers in 5 minutes. I should have had more printed. Oh my God, that was wild. I'm at the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association meeting where General Flynn just spoke. And they're having a prayer right now. Okay, prayer's over. So now I'm gonna hand out flyers and show you guys what we do. Would you guys like to learn about the penetration of our country? Yep.
Get on Lee Lavina and show people actively going to people offline, flyers, when Lee ambushed Charlie Kirk.
You feeling me? Yeah. Well, I got some pretty important information for you. That? It's about Israel. Okay, what about it? The Israeli press has been warning us about this Russian penetration of Israel. We've got files KGB infiltrated Israel at the highest levels. Oh, wow. And all of our tech companies are being infiltrated by Israeli military intelligence. So check this out. I love Israel. Because this is, I love them as well. So we need to check this information out because we have Netanyahu. He's doing deals with China and Russia in broad daylight, giving them weapons. I mean, I don't mind Russia. The China one bothers me. Yeah, that's a serious problem. God bless, man. I'll take a look at it. All right.
When he ambushes Steve Bannon.
Hey, Steve, real quick. I want to give this information. Russian penetration of Israel and Microsoft, Intel, cyber attacks on the rise because of Russia and Israel. So I want you to look into that for me, please. Hey, Steve, you looking at that for us? Hey, awesome, man. Appreciate it. You're the man, dude. Thank you.
He changed the world when Mary Silver got up in front of 300 top-level Republicans in Seattle and gave the spiel over 2 years ago.
I found that Microsoft core codes their products in Israel. These products are being used by our Pentagon, our weapons labs, Boeing, your local businesses and universities. And they're core coded by graduates of the Israeli military intelligence program, Talpiot and Unit 8200. Many of the Talpiot and Unit 8200 graduates are the sons and daughters of Russian emigres who fled the Soviet Union after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Isn't it odd how Russia and China seem to be able to easily hack our US technology? Could it be that Vladimir Putin made sure his people are deep inside Israeli high technology and their industrial base? I believe so. Benjamin Netanyahu and his Likud party have utterly betrayed the United States. They were front and center in conducting espionage against us to assist Russia and China. We need to face the fact that we are facing the greatest espionage scandal in history.
She changed the world.
Information about the penetration of our country, backdooring through the critical infrastructure, and how it happened. Okay. So that was all Lee's flyers that just went out, and General Flynn talked about China, and he didn't mention anything about Israel, of course, but yeah, so this was the flyer. Yeah, this was a good night, and I'm exhausted because I just had a full day work too, and I drove 2 hours to get here, so I'm going to bed, guys, and well, I got to drive 2 hours home, but I'm going to bed after that, and yeah. It's an exciting night, and I'm very happy.
And you're going to find in the future the only real people are those that encourage direct political action. Like this Canadian woman, she's really impressive.
Let people try to communicate with them in a way that they can understand. When you have that, that is a great opportunity for you to get more involved, for you to try to build your confidence so you can use your voice, say what you think and believe in what you say, make sure you are well researched. Don't yell at people. Try to communicate with them in a way that they can understand. Get involved in school boards. Get involved in community town halls and community events, city councilors, whatever it may be. There's so many opportunities there for you to have your voice heard and for things to really change, because the change that we need, I think, and this is also part of why things feel so much worse. I think that excuse is pretty thin, and I do not think that they have a lot of time. I really do not. And so I think my biggest takeaway from this is not to check out, ever. Don't you dare. You got to pinky swear me that you will not, because I need you. I can't do this without you. Are you kidding me? I live in one of the most liberal provinces in the country. I need you, okay? So we're pinky swearing here. Sorry, that's kind of silly. Don't let the noise wear you down. Stay engaged, stay thoughtful, because what comes next is so important, and it's being written right now by you and me, because I'm talking to you, so I guess I'm a part of it too. Anyway, I'm Jasmine Lane. Like, share, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below, and remember that despite all of this, we still live in one of the best countries in the world.
I must admit, it's Canada. I'm not that interested, but she does a pretty damn good job. She's the first. I mean, I'm sure there are many. I'm just not seeing them because that's the system where she's pushing. And I know, hey, she does this all the time. We've got to get involved. We've got to get involved. And that's the new standard. If all your online media whore cross-promoted bullshit artists can do is say, it's terrible, I was not worried, we better watch out, you better wake up, send me money, oh my God, the alien pyramids and the tunnel system. Catherine Austin Fitts with the light workers who are members of the World Economic Forum, of course. That's why Tucker has her on all the time. This garbage. No, you get involved in politics and you lead by example. You know, Mary ambushed Catherine Austin Fitts. She ran as fast as she could. As fast as she could. These people know who we are. I assure you, they know who we are. Catherine Austin Fitts is a traitor who should be permanently exiled from the United States with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. All right? Very simple. They're not our friends. They got our attention. Boo the Jews. They killed Charlie Kirk. And they drop a word, Talmud. They drop a word, K. Griggs. They drop a word here, and then that's it. It just disappears. 400 videos later. Where is it? I can't even find it. That's why you can drop. You can do a little name drop and just move along. Alex Jones made a career out of this and he flies everywhere first class and everyone's confused. Why does nothing change? 9/11, full view, Israel totally exposed. Chris Boleyn, 2007, creates books and Rich is, you got to encourage Rich and the guy from Geopolitics to interview these people. He got back to me and said he never heard of Chris Boleyn. And I insulted Lou Rockwell on Substack and Lou Rockwell had never heard of Chris Boleyn. Well, they have now. So why aren't they being interviewed? People don't even know who Chris Boleyn is. My God, the guy named all the Israeli assets. And it's not just about the buildings coming down and the excuse for the Ode Genon plan to break up pan-Arab nationalism, using Iran as well. It's not just that. It's who controlled the computer systems to this day, culminating in Pax Silica. And we never talked about that with Rich. We've got to mention, but we've got to talk again. We're going to talk again. We get along really well. I really like Rich. He's a good person. All right? So please, it's a fraud. Everything is under control. The Pentagon doesn't know what it's doing. Trump is baffled. What shall he do? It's just one giant act. I'm sorry. The real war is going on behind the scenes. And you see a Keir Starmer. Remember Carney saying, if we don't get a seat at the table, we're on the menu. We've got to get people together. And they're just being crashed. And they did this just 4 weeks before Trump set off the Straits of Hormuz. They knew it was coming. That's the timeline. Carney, Keir Starmer running to China, going to Davos. If we don't get a seat at the table, we're on the menu. Why aren't people talking about it? All right, Carney isn't the Prime Minister of Canada. He is a London central banker. The reason why these countries are so weak, like Australia has no more oil refineries left. It's got 2 left. But there's plenty of fuel right now at the moment because I know someone who delivers it every day. Everyone's topped up. They've declared states of emergency in Western Australia, which is a huge gold mining. It's just one big mining operation, the whole state. Why? Well, they seem to suspect this may go on for a while, and they are correct, it would seem. We'll see how it transpires, another month or 2. The point is, why did Australia take away its refining capacity? Because it gets it all from Singapore. Who runs Singapore? Crown Corporate, Globalist. City of London. Who runs Australia? Crown Corporate, Globalist, City of London. They're sharing around the wealth. They're sharing around the economic structure. They're sharing around the trade to their children. That's what they're doing. That's why Australia, from its own national security perspective, has thrown away its national security because it's not a sovereign entity. Singapore refines our fuel, 80% of it. Well, who owns freaking Singapore? Little Israel, it's called. The City of London. Who owns Australia? The City of London. They are merely distributing around the economies of the region to all of its little children whores. They're not sovereign states. And Australians are sitting there scratching their heads. Why is our country self-destructing? Because you don't run your country. It is run from far away in places in Paris, France, London in the UK, Frankfurt, Germany, Basel, Switzerland. That's where you're run from. You're not run from Australia. You're not even run by King Charles. He's just a figurehead. He wants to run completely. He wants to be able to let into the Middle East. So that it's a huge fight. We're not fighting France. We're not fighting the Brits. We're not fighting the Germans. We're fighting the Sabbatean Franca City of London union between Crown Corporate, Queen Victoria, and the Hofjuden and the 13 families of Europe, all the Swiss Viennese who had those massive fortunes. Okay, now they're intermixed, intermarried, interbred with the old Hofjuden, the old Kabbalists. The history with Michael Hoffman, Judaism Discovered, revisionisthistory.org. You must read and watch Michael Hoffman. All right, the old Kabbalists out of the East. John Dee trained in Vienna with a head rabbinic Kabbalist, and then he was the protector of Queen Elizabeth I. Then the big war between the Catholic, the Vatican, and Queen Elizabeth and the Protestant movement. You got to really look into Martin Luther, one of my heroes, admittedly, but do you seriously think Martin Luther took on the Catholic Church by himself? No, he had the entire German business class. Who might that be? The Hanseatic League. The Vatican runs everything? Then why are they broke? Why do you think they got Pope Leo, an American? Because they're desperate for money. But I thought they ruled the world. They got no money. Why is the Italian economy falling apart? Israel's booming and still booming. Still no attacks on Intel fabrication. Haifa port is not on fire. But the population's terrorized. No one's talking about Bibi's indictment. This is all good. Perpetual war. Keep it going. This is how it works. Destabilized perception. You will get a coherent narrative when you understand the simple fact of the City of London, globalist takeover of the whole world. As Klaus Schwab said, we penetrate the cabinets. I mean, it's right in front of everyone's face. Vladimir Putin's best friend. Heinz Kissinger. It's all there. I've repeated it 10,000 times. And pretty soon, one of the big names is going to take all my little montage pictures I made with others, and they're going to start telling you this news. Oh my God, did you know? And everyone will go, oh my God, you're a genius. We had no idea. Thank you. And, we've been sitting here for 17 years. So, this is the way it works. Just have to deal with it. This is the way the game is played. All these corporatized players. Oh, I'm just an alt media independent operator, and you work out they got a $300 million corporate LLC behind them. Look, it's not all bad. Things are changing slowly. Pluto is in Aquarius. It's going to destroy everything. They're already fighting each other. You can decide how real it is. I believe it's actually quite real to a large degree. And I think Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are going to come off second best, whether they believe in what they're doing or whether they are used or whatever you want to believe. Francis Stoner Saunders, the Cultural Cold War. This is the control of media personalities has been around for a long time. It's just how much control and also the exact form it's taking and the exact way it's being applied. I've wavered from, Tucker Carlson's got Don Jr. on his board. The Tucker Carlson network has 27 permanent staff and 5 core members, including who? Rebecca Mercer, old Cambridge Analytica. Oh, okay. That's interesting. And Don Jr., Donald Trump's son, is on the board with Tucker Carlson, and he's best friends with the head of the Heritage Foundation. Can you get a coherent narrative out of that? That's kind of scary, because you could just say, look, it's all an act, and they're just getting attention and holding the audience in place so they don't go to independent truth operators. We'll touch on Talmud. We'll touch on the slave trade. We'll touch on this and we'll touch on that, but we'll never take it anywhere. We'll just run people in circles, tell them, look over here, look over here, look over here, buy my coffee mugs, buy my coffee grinds, go to this sponsor of our show, and they'll just keep it there. But I don't quite believe that. I definitely considered it at first, and then I went, no, there's something else going on. There is definitely, these people are definitely in with a globalist element. There's definitely fights going on. There's definitely money being exchanged. I can't quite get a handle on it. I can't quite tell you. I vacillate daily from, no, it's just a big stage act, just to hold audiences in place. Because once 2023, the TikTok revolution and the Chinese Communist Party under Xi Jinping released TikTok, which is really what? City of London, that's who owns that. And you think, why are they exposing the Israel stuff? Why? Because they're trying to break off US public opinion from Israel because China and Russia are ready to step in. They're trying to break the US out of Eurasia, out of the Middle East. And it's failed every time. That's why Whitney Webb said, boo, Israel, but wouldn't tell you about Microsoft Israel, wouldn't tell you about Intel Israel, wouldn't tell you about the complete domination of US databases, the Amazon Azure cloud. Sorry, the Microsoft Azure cloud and Amazon web services. It's all controlled by Israeli companies. She wouldn't tell you about Rad Group and Radcom and the electrical power grids run by Israeli companies with programmable logic chips and industrial controller chips, all out of Israel. Israel is City of London. It's GCHQ. And I don't give enough time to GCHQ. We're focused on NSA, but it's private. They're privatized now. As Bill Binney said, the great Bill Binney, they just walked in and privatized everything and gave it all to Israel. And then everyone went, oh, Israel are geniuses. Look at their stuff. He said, hey, we made that for $2 million 10 years ago. Why are you giving it to Israel? Now it's $200 million. Bill Binney exposed the whole damn thing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the Orange Clown, war, Straits of Hormuz, we're all doomed, we're going to eat our cats. This doom spiraling is their greatest weapon. And God willing, I think it's going to end this year. I truly do. I truly think people are going to snap, reach the point of optimal frustration when they go, wait a minute, I've had enough of this garbage. I'm still alive. Things are going along very nicely in the West. I'm fat. I still have my job. If I lost my job, I got another job. It's just the usual stress and strain. They've got to keep you under stress. If you're under stress, you can't think. You can't plan. You can't relax. You can't get together with people. You're paranoid. You're angry. They're keeping you in that psychological state. That's why I said, your greatest crime is by 2033, we're going to be having the same conversation. The Earth is doomed. The zombies are coming. The alien space monkeys are ready to invade. The Vatican lizards have taken over the moon base. It's all fake. This is about reshaping the whole planet for the benefit of the United States, the Bill of Rights and the US Constitution. I truly believe that's where it's heading. If enough Americans and we outside the United States cheerlead enough, I truly believe very positive things can happen. Very positive things. But it means don't trust the plan. You've seen how much they've contacted me, high-level people? You would not believe it. And the message is overtly and subtly, these things are handled quietly. Please relax. Not everyone is against you. That is literally the message. High-level government officials, equivalent of the US State Department, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, which is that equivalent in Australia, high-level special forces commanders who are high-level intelligence assets. I've been invited out with oil and gas executives and consular officials in Malaysia. We're under Opus Dei, for crying out loud. I'm still alive. Half of them were Jesuits. Still alive. They were cheering me on. These things are handled quietly. Sandy berets. And I'm thinking, this will be an adventure. Well, it's 17 years on. I'm a little tired. Tired of this adventure. Like to come in from the cold. Stage left. Retire. They never give you money, trust me. They have to humiliate you and get you under control. I was talking with someone who mixes with a few of them. He said, Brendan, they're not going to give you a cent, dude. They give you money when they own you because you're having sex with goats on TV or whatever. You're Nick Fuentes. You're a full-blown homosexual playing games and laughing and LARPing at people. When they own you, then they'll give you some money, or they've humiliated you. Then it's a ritual for them. They must control and humiliate. But we've got enough supporters out there. Not everyone is evil. Remember all the people that have to watch this before they automate the systems. They have children too. I hope the Russians love their children too. Thank you, Sting. Great song. Look at Heather. Not her real name. Clearly US State Department. Mary spoke to her for 3 hours. She's in meetings at high-level Washington, D.C. with a card from the Chinese embassy for Christ. She said they pounced on her. We've been talking to her for months. And she said the same, Brendan, you got to calm down. These things take time. We've been contacted by General Milley's JAG for crying out loud. please stop the fear porn. But you can't just trust the plan. I do believe the National Defense Authorization Act is onto it, Israel. I was warned by Israeli dual nationals back in 2005 about this whole thing, Talpiot Unit 8200, but they didn't call it that. I didn't realize what it was. The Israeli press has warned us over and over and over again, not the US press, not the European press, the Israeli press. So I'm not as concerned. Well, I'm concerned about Pax Silica, where Israel will be overlaying programmable logic chips and industrial controller chips over the top of what they have already for a real-time AI defense of critical infrastructure. That's a worry. But the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, says over and over again, the United States retains all intellectual property rights. The United States has the power to end any and all agreements at any and all time. And they say it again and again. So they're pleading, look, it's under control. It's not good though. But it's not good. And you can't trust it. You need a full inquiry into how a hostile foreign state filled with Russian GRU sleepers, filled with Victor Rothschilds type people, Peter Wright, spycatcher, whereby they said in the 1980s the head of MI5, MI6 were all Soviet assets. Half of the British high society were Soviet assets back in the 50s and 60s and still are to this day. To this day. And that was completely penetrated via their Russian assets through Israel and into the United States. And they also come through freaking Canada in the East Coast French-speaking region. Invade Canada now. West Coast first, then the East Coast. From the river to the sea, Canada will be free. Crown corporate out. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let them scare you with this garbage. We will be free. The only question is not whether we will be free. We will be free. 100%. It can't fail. Freedom always wins. The light always wins. God always wins. It's just a matter of how many people die along the way. Usually ordinary working class people, simple people. They like a barbecue, maybe a halal beer, cervezas, by the beach with their friends. And they're happy. The kids are happy. He's at soccer training. She's doing ballet, whatever. They're at school. The boyfriend's a nice kid. He's 16. Dad's checked him out. And they're just happy. The people at the top can't bear this. Oh, they're happy because the people at the top are so miserable. They're popping pills all the time, high-quality pharmaceutical cocaine and ecstasy and methamphetamine, microdosing LSD to try to get themselves out of their chronic depression because they fear death. These people are so divorced, they're demonic, they're hollow shells. They hate us. But we refuse to pick up the mantle, pick up the sword, and take control of our own lives as kings and queens in our own houses. Male and female making babies. Babies bring life. With life comes consciousness and the ability to say, as a reflective mirror, I know God exists. I don't believe. There are wonders to be had coming up. We're going to reach for the stars. And no matter how many times, how impossible it all is, it's not impossible. It will take massive scientific advances in material science. We ain't getting to Mars anytime soon. Maybe next century. Maybe we'll get there before this century is out. But with AI can come many blessings. And with it will also come the complete destruction of the human race. It's a choice. We can choose the good, or we can sit back, become passive, and get the bad. If more and more people, more and more intelligently, can form a coherent narrative about what's going on, they can begin to understand, they can begin to understand the fear-mongering, and they can begin to have some more faith in institutions that sometimes these things are handled quietly. But if you don't mind, I will trust, but I will verify. We are at a point now where I'm telling you, they want to destroy your faith in every single institution. I just watched Tom Luongo on Rich, and he said the same thing. They're trying to destroy your faith in everything. You must trust but verify and become involved in the political process. And they will do everything they can to force you into psychological drama and fear and anxiety and exhaust you and get you under a mortgage. I mean, the mortgage is the greatest killer of all. The bankers are the enemy. String them up! Every last one of them. String them up. They're trying to get us to hate Mexicans and brown people after they flooded the whole country with them. And then they say, oh my God, look at all these Mexicans we left in, all these brown people. What shall we do? Don't look at it. So we're not talking about Wall Street and bankers anymore and the fact the billionaire class pay no freaking tax ever. Oh, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about 47 cents on the dollar when you're a multi-billionaire. No. We're not talking about taking their Cayman Island accounts. The NSA knows where they all are. We're not talking about ending this Swiss bank account bullshit in these havens. Just take it and confiscate the whole lot of America. Take the whole damn lot. We're not talking about that. We don't talk solutions. We react. Brown people have invaded. Mass murderers. Tomen de agua. Oh, that's the plan. Drag queen story time. That's the plan. Bankers, baby. Wall Street gambling, drug money, casino. That is the enemy. That is the enemy. The Pentagon knows exactly what it's doing in the Straits of Hormuz. The battle management system, AI, is fantastic. The reports are this thing's better than they ever expected. God help us if they transfer that onto the civilian world. God help us. We don't fix this by living in fear. We fix it. Hello? We fix it by what? Engaging in politics. We already changed the damn world. We're all still alive. We have many allies within the system. They want you to hate the CIA and the analysts who have children too. They want you to hate the Department of Defense. They want you to hate the FBI. That's exactly what they want you to do. That's why they put a clown like that clown. He's disgusting. He is absolute. Kash Patel is worse than that poor guy will end up committing suicide when he realizes what a clown he is. Oh, no, he won't. He's a psychopath. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. They want you hating these institutions. The enemy is inside the gates. It's within and without. We have 100 years of Silvermaster spying. We have Peter Wright. We're going to go over it, Spycatcher, to show the political class in Britain, for instance, didn't work for the Soviets. They worked for the City of London, who ran the Soviets, who funded Trotsky, who funded that whole process. Victor Rothschild, accused of being a Soviet agent, the sixth man out of the Cambridge Five. Do you understand? And that's what Iran is. That's why they're running backwards and forwards to Scotland, Scottish Rite Masonry. What do you think the Catholic Mason is? Candace Owens. Scottish Rite Masonry. With her homosexual husband, with their imaginary 4 kids. Don't believe a word of it. Ladies and gentlemen, stop being afraid. We'll talk more soon. I've got some voiceovers to do. Stay positive. You're not under a bomb. You have an obligation to defend those who aren't under bombs. And you're not going to defend them by crying out, "Buy my coffee mugs and T-shirts. Attend a rally, raise your fist, refuse consent." You're not going to win like that. You penetrate the cabinets. Listen to Klaus. Listen to Klaus. Penetrate the cabinets. Get down into your Republican Party meetings. Don't worry about Democrats. They're gone, whatever. Just get down into those Republican meetings. Use the flyers. They're always linked below. Some very good flyers down there you can use. Study the issues, articulate them to friends, family, and above all, the political class. You want to talk to politically highly motivated people. Where are they? They're down in your Liberal Party in Australia, which is the equivalent of the Republican Party. Go and join, penetrate into the Labor Party, which is the equivalent of the Democrats currently in power in Australia. Don't ask me how, but they are. Start to get down to those meetings in the UK and in Europe. Do what Paola and friends are doing over there in Italy and France. They're just penetrating slowly. You want the consistent application of pressure over time. Jewish power got where it got by the consistent application of pressure over time. Just consistently hitting a force they couldn't break through. They'll just slither away and slither back this way. Penetrate the cabinets. The Hofjuden, Jewish power. But always remember this, every Jew could disappear in a puff of Auschwitz smoke. This process of the centralization of power does not stop. It will keep going. We need alliances between Jews, Christians, and Muslims. They want to keep us apart, keep us fractured, just like they did between Sunni and Shia in the Middle East. It's all being taken down. The Islamic terror networks are a City of London funded, Swiss banker funded operation through Firebase Israel. Okay? It's all being removed. How many will die? I don't know. Iran is a fraud. The Ayatollah's dead. His son. I don't think you realize the huge debate that went on within Shia communities about the Ayatollah's son. Everyone said, number one, he's probably dead. And two, they said he's nuts and they don't want him. They don't want him. The Shia don't want him. He's not even alive. He's dead. He doesn't exist. It's garbage. It's fake. You have Zarif, the little whore, Chatham House whore, working with the moderate Peshka or whatever his name is. Okay? And they're just doing exactly what they're told. And they raise their little fist because why? It's to put pressure on China, ready for new meetings, pressure on the globalists. This is the last gasp of the globalists. Mark Carney, Keir Starmer, January. Come on, people, talk about it. In January, Mark Carney's saying we either get a seat at the table or on the menu, and he's running to China. That was a cry of desperation. He's not the Prime Minister of Canada. He's a London central banker. He's talking from the perspective of a London central banker, and it's all being collapsed around them. They're terrified. And you think, these people are this stupid? Yes, they are. You need to meet some of them. They are the most stupidest, idiot. They have lived in a rigged game for 100 years. It's a rigged game. Stupid people get promoted. Why? Because the people above them don't want them taking their jobs. They don't want them outshining because the most intelligent and smart people are usually very honest. You have to get psychopaths. You have to get opportunists, crass, horrible people who crawl over your dead body. See, you're a nice person. You just want to have a barbecue. The bills are paid. The house is paid off. The kids are happy. That's all you want out of life. These people are not like that. They're not like you and me. They're filthy, demonic, hollow shells. There are demons. They're born demons. They're born psychopaths and narcissists. They don't have the same wiring as you and I. It wouldn't matter how good their childhoods were or how bad their childhoods were. They are born like it. And in normal societies, they get killed off. They get left in the desert to die because they can't relate to fellow humans. But we live in such a high technology structured society, they can hide and they can prosper. Normally, they would just be killed off. They couldn't be tolerated because they self-destruct. They always self-destruct. So we are entering a whole new phase right now. And we're going to win. Humanity will win. But let me tell you how painful it will be. That is the only question. And all you have to do is engage and think. You know, like Matt, he just printed out a bunch of flyers with an Australian perspective. He contacted Lee. Lee changed the flyer. And he's driving around handing out flyers wherever he goes to his workmates, many of whom are interesting people. That's all he's doing. He didn't have to get up and do a speech. He's just handing out the flyers. He goes and prints them off at the printers and hands them out. And just starts talking with people on lunch breaks. That's it. That's how it starts. Stop self-defeating. Stop doom spiraling. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall talk again very, very soon. Ciao for now, horo fez, jumpalegi, jumpananti, hasta luego. F. Scott Fitzgerald, quote, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. One should, for example, be able to see that things are hopeless and yet be determined to make them otherwise. This philosophy fitted on to my early adult life when I saw the improbable, the implausible, often the impossible, come true."
What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American because that's what it's all about, and that's the only thing that it's all about. Nothing else. Nothing else. It's about freedom.